This is 5 on your side at 4. Focused on you.
First at 4, we've learned the estimated cost to clean up Coldwater Creek in North St. Louis County has more than doubled. That's according to a new report from the Government Accountability Office. Thanks for being here. I'm Kay Quinn.
And I'm Brent Solomon. The report says it will cost more than $400 million and take another 15 years to finish cleaning up the radioactive waste. Our political editor, Mark Maxwell, is live outside of Jana Elementary for us with reaction. Mark.
Brent and Kay, good afternoon. In fact, you may see some of that cleanup process underway behind me as bulldozers and front loaders move soil off the side of the former Jana Elementary School. That price tag to clean up radioactive waste left over from the World War II and the construction of the atomic bomb nationwide, now reaching $2.6 billion. Why so high? You might call it the procrastination tax. The government says inflation over the last 7 years has driven the cost of this cleanup much higher, roughly $1 billion higher. Congress could have to approve new funding just to pay for it all. That's work that could take at least another 15 years. Advocates we spoke with earlier today said this new report further erodes their trust in the Army Corps of Engineers. They cited staffing, management, and organizational struggles detailed in the report and called on the U.S. Department of Energy to reclaim control of the nuclear waste cleanup. Advocates are still waiting for the House to approve a plan to compensate victims who may have contracted cancer or other illnesses near these sites along Coldwater Creek, and they expressed frustration at how long they've already had to wait for this kind of action.
I mean, for me, it's frustrating because by the time we are even looking at getting any cleanup complete, it's 2038. That's nearly 100 years that this waste has been in our community, allowed to poison people. I can't wrap my mind around that. I don't know why it has taken so long to see any sort of actual movement in Congress to do something. While I'm grateful, I am grateful that things are moving now, but again, they're just sitting in limbo because we don't have a Speaker of the House right now.
And we know that the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers telling us in a statement earlier today that they're, quote, working to address many of the concerns listed in this government accountability report. Local advocates in this area plan to continue that conversation and put more pressure on Congress at a town hall tomorrow night just across town here in Florissant. That event kicking off at 6 o'clock at the Trinity Church in Florissant, lasting roughly 2 hours. Live in Florissant, Mark Maxwell, 5 on your side.
All right, thank you, Mark. Right now, this man is facing murder charges, accused of killing his 2 roommates. Investigators say Edward LeBrier approached St. Louis police officers this morning and admitted to killing his roommates a couple of days ago. Police later found the bodies of Roy Ray and Eric Shadrick in a home on Wyoming Street in South St. Louis. A police source says LeBrier told the officers, quote, something came over him. Police say he shot the men with a 12-gauge shotgun.
The Illinois Fire Marshal now trying to figure out what caused this fire that destroyed a Metro East convenience store. Crews from several departments responded to the County Line Quick Shop in Cahokia Heights overnight. They found heavy flames shooting through the roof there. The building eventually collapsed. A store employee lived in an apartment above the store. He got out and called for help. A disturbing night for people staying at a downtown St. Louis hotel. Firefighters showing up to the last hotel on Washington Avenue overnight. Guests had to evacuate. They tell us it was a small fire. They were allowed back in their rooms just a while later.
President Biden is back in Washington after a short visit to Israel. While there, he met with families of victims of the Hamas attack and pushed to get aid to residents in Gaza. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest.
Amid seething tensions in the Middle East, President Biden making a brief but politically potent visit to Israel.
You are not alone.
Reaffirming U.S. support for Israel's fight after the brutal Hamas terror attack and seeking to contain the bloody conflict following a devastating blast at a hospital in Gaza that killed hundreds of civilians and roiled anger and agony in surrounding countries where protests erupted. While Israel and Hamas trade blame for the hospital explosion, President Biden pointing to the U.S. intelligence assessment that Israel is not responsible.
I was outraged and saddened by the enormous loss of life yesterday in the hospital in Gaza. Based on the information we've seen to date, it appears the result of an errant rocket fired by a terrorist group in Gaza.
The president's planned summit with the leaders of the Palestinian Authority, Egypt, and Jordan canceled in the blast's wake, while President Biden announced $100 million in new U.S. humanitarian aid for Gaza and the West Bank, along with an agreement that Israel would allow food, water, and medicine from Egypt into Gaza as civilians flee Israeli airstrikes.
The suffering is increasing every day. We see streams of people walking south, and then the question is, where do they go?
President Biden comforting survivors and families of the victims killed in Israel, sharing emotional stories of loss and hope as the U.S. vows support to bring home hostages held in Gaza and ease the raw suffering in a region on a knife's edge. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
President Biden is planning to ask Congress for what he calls an unprecedented support package for Israel's defense. It's expected to be combined with aid for Ukraine and the U.S. southern border. You can follow all of the latest news on the Israel-Hamas war and find ways to support those impacted by texting the word Israel to 314-425-5355.
Congressman Jim Jordan failing yet again to win the vote to become House Speaker. The Donald Trump ally appears to have no path for the gavel. His next steps are pretty uncertain as lawmakers float around other options. A large group of 20 Republican lawmakers rejected his bid yesterday. 22 voted against him today. They'll try again tomorrow. Many view Jordan as too extreme for the powerful role of Speaker.
Right now, St. Louis Mayor Tashora Jones is in Washington, D.C. She's meeting with hundreds of other mayors from around the nation for the Bloomberg City Lab. They're sharing new ideas and urban interventions for problems like aging infrastructure and climate change. The summit runs today through Friday. Well, it seems Mother Nature can't decide whether she wants to go all in on fall yet. Spring-like weather today as we look outside. Just a gorgeous afternoon. Meteorologist Jim Castillo here with the Weather First forecast.
Yeah, it's amazing. 76. I saw that temperature get up to today. It's 75 now, and there's that breeze going through. So very sunny at the moment. Now, believe it or not, there is definitely a cold front on the way, but limited moisture with that. More on that coming up. Trees are moving a little bit around with some color in there. Very nice. Look at that. Breeze going right around Chesterfield. And there's the front. Kansas City all the way through eastern Iowa. A few showers along it, and they're headed our way for late evening and into the overnight hours. So 75 right now, south wind at about 15 miles an hour. Look at the humidity, only 29%. So again, when those showers move in here, how much will actually reach the ground? Otherwise, it is breezy. It's going to stay breezy tonight, and overnight lows expected much warmer in the 50s, but right now we're in the 70s. So enjoy that. And of course, I'll time out that rain coming up in just a bit.
Well, Jim, MoDOT is already getting ready for winter. You may have seen some snow plows out on the road today. As part of the agency's annual drill, MoDOT says snowplow operators will work 12-hour shifts during a major snowstorm. They'll spend the next few days going over their snow routes. We'll hear more about the preparations and predictions tomorrow.